You've built a web app for your hackathon project, maybe using a framework like Flask or Node, maybe just a simple set of static pages with HTML and CSS, maybe using some APIs to access data or process user requests. It's running on your PC or Mac and is ready to be presented. But where can you put it so everyone can use it? How can you host your web app in the cloud? Microsoft Azure has a number of services that can help, allowing you to host web apps or APIs in the cloud: Azure App Service, Azure Static Web Apps, and Azure Functions. Azure App Service allows you to quickly build and deploy web apps using a huge range of different frameworks. At its most basic, you can build a web app using a framework like Flask or ASP.NET, then deploy your code to App Service via tools like VS Code or by adding the code to source code control, such as GitHub. App Service will manage everything for you, from installing the framework to installing your code to hosting the website. You tell it how much power you want the app to have by selecting the specs of the computer it will run on, and App Service does the rest. You can then quickly scale up to more powerful computers or scale out to multiple machines running your web app. The machines your code runs on can be Windows or Linux box, or you can even deploy using containers. Azure Static Web Apps are designed for static web apps with static content that is not manipulated via a back-end framework. Azure Static Web Apps takes your source code from GitHub and hosts it for you. Most static web apps use a framework such as React or Vue, and when you set up your Azure Static Web Apps resource, it will create a GitHub action for you to run the relevant code to build your app using the framework. Static web apps often access APIs to get data or respond to user actions, and you can host these APIs using Azure Functions. Now, Azure Functions are small pieces of code that are run in response to events. Azure Functions is what is known as serverless. Not that there isn't a server that they run on, but instead you as a developer don't have to care. Your code is run for you with all the management of it done by Azure. Azure Functions can be triggered by a wide range of things, such as timers or IoT events. But one trigger of interest to web developers is an HTTP trigger. This means you can build an API for your web app that can be called by making HTTP requests that are handled by Azure Functions. Your code can listen to GET or POST requests, handle data being sent as parameters or the body of the request, process headers, and return the data you need. These functions can be written in a wide range of languages, allowing you to leverage the skills on your hackathon team. For example, having a developer who knows HTML and JavaScript to build a static web app, another who knows Python build the API using Azure Functions. You can learn more about these services and try them all out on Microsoft Learn, our free online hands-on self-guided learning platform. Head to aka.ms/hackathon/webapps for a set of learning paths and modules covering Azure App Service, Azure Static Web Apps, and Azure Functions.